Let's pull out a small AGM battery bank and replace it with some new Pytes V5 lithium iron phosphate. All right, you know the drill. Let's install a battery. Pytes V5. We're going to build a 3-stack of these to replace a tiny battery bank of aged out Concord absorbed glass mat AGM lead acid batteries. This is the Pytes V5. It's the heated version, so it has built-in heaters. This is 100 amp hours and 51.2 volts nominal. All right, let's open it up and see what we got in here. All right, you've seen the unboxing before, so don't have to go crazy. The manual, ground cable, 2 battery bus bars. So I'm going to use these. In this case, I only have 3 batteries. Data cable. Now these ground wires are usually pretty long, so I also picked up a package of lugs that match the appearance of these lugs, and I'm going to shorten this cable as I daisy chain it in the battery group. All right, let's get deeper in here. Let's review the front. Similar to the Pytes e-box battery, the Pytes V5 has a similar layout. So you have your power button, which turns it on. You have your start button. You have alarm run, and then you have your indicator of state of charge. I believe it's 6 dots, not certain. Your inverter address. I'm going to use LuxPower for the Schneider. It'll show up on the InsightHome. Console is the most brilliant feature of this battery that most other batteries do not have. This is a serial connection, so you can use a USB to serial cable, and then you can use hyperterminal, and then you can log into this as if it's like a little Unix box. Very nice. And of course, CAN RS-45, and then the daisy chain ports to daisy chain multiple batteries into one group. Now, put that there. This is the IoT, Internet of Things. Oh, I skipped over the relay port. Now, you know, this relay port, seems like to me there should be a plugger that you plug in here that has screw terminals or spring terminals, because that looks like a pin to me right there. A pin. There should be some device there. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, IoT. This is the Internet of Things port. I have the Wi-Fi adapter here. This is an odd connector. Is that amp or Molex? Got to bring back some memories here. Anyway, I think it's kind of unusual that that's going to stick out like that in the front of the battery to be broken off later. I might have to figure out some kind of arrangement here. Anyway, I digress. Solving problems that need to be solved yet. Here is the bus bar system. So you have negative and positive, and then you have your bus bar cable. The bus bar cable system, bus bar system. This bus bar is pre-made by Pytes. Looks like I'll need to bend it slightly to make it flat, but you'll go, I'll break that off. I'll break that off when I get there. This will go there and daisy chain the batteries together. Now this bus bar looks like it's too long to go between them. There's a good reason for that. Good reason for that. Main reason is, put that there, put that there, put this out of the way. I also picked up a few of these stacking brackets. You know, the R bracket of the e-box is a whole shelf system. The stacking bracket's different. Basically, you attach this clamp mechanism. Let me get a better view here. You attach this clamp mechanism to each battery. There's 4 of them, 1 for each corner. They'll get bolted on here where there's pre-made screw holes. And then these, let me pull this out some. These brackets go on thusly. See, kind of disappear like that. Then you can stack the batteries, and a couple things happen here. One, this rectangular shape at the bottom gives us a 1-inch air gap or so, 1-inch air gap. And then the next battery, you have a hole there, and you have a pin there. So they line up with each other. And then you have this locking clamp. I think it's very nice. Now, I don't guess this needs to be included with the battery, and it wasn't very expensive for what you're getting. And it actually adds up to be less expensive using this method to stack batteries than the R bracket that was available on the e-box battery. I think the limit here is 6 batteries stacked using this method, and the e-box with the R bracket was limited to 8. I'm sure you could push that a little bit if you wanted to. Now, the other thing about this battery, which I like the most, well, I don't know, I already said I like the most, is the console port. One thing about this battery is actually a very thin profile for 100 amp hours, and that makes it one of the best batteries because it takes up the least amount of vertical space in a server rack battery. I've seen server rack batteries that were, you know, almost as big as this box included. So, very nice. All right, so let me get, one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little platform for this to sit on at the customer site so that the battery, this is not on the floor. This is not on the floor. It could be, but I'm gonna make it not on the floor. I'm gonna use a pressure treated 2x4s like I've done before, so the battery sits above the floor by some good margin. So that's that. All right, stand by. Next step. All right, here's our system that we're going to upgrade. We have about a 200 amp hour, 48 volt AGM battery bank. We're going to pull that out, but first let's turn the system off. I'm waiting for the customer to come back, but I'm going to turn off the input to the charge controllers. And then in a minute, I'm going to put the system in bypass, which is this slider plate. You turn off the output and you turn the input to the output. Turn off the DC inverter breakers, and then we'll pull everything out and clean it out. All right, let me catch my breath, get the broom, sweep the area, and get the batteries roughed in. Make 2 battery cables. Also, I brought this old comm box to monitor what was happening. In the meantime, northern Arizona Wind and Sun sent me another InsightHome, which I'll put on here, replacing this one. I just put it on temporarily. So, yeah, clean up and reset. All right, here's the little wooden platform that I built. It's the same size as the battery, and it's got leveling feet on the bottom because this concrete floor is not level, and small pins at the top to receive the brackets. Next up, put some ends on the cables. All right, these little brackets are sold separately. They come 4 to a box. Looks like this. So you just, you bolt them on. Obviously it doesn't go here. It goes here on the end where they've already drilled and tapped the holes. So that just makes a platform that the battery can sit on, the bottom and the top. So the next battery will rest in that position there and lock together. So you'll see that in just a second. All right, that's how we're looking. Making a double check of the level and get it lined up just right to have 2 stacks of Pytes in the future, potentially. And then I think 4 tall, so 8 Pytes. Looks like will fit here without too much ado. Okay, keep stacking. All right, 3 batteries stacked. Now I'll shorten the cables there. Negative on the bottom, positive will go to the top. Probably leave some allowance for 1 or 2 more batteries so the positive still reaches in that situation. In the end, if I put another 4 here, I'll probably put a bus bar here that divides them so that their cables are cleaned up. So let's get her back together. Well, that does stick out too far. So I went and ordered an extension cable. Pytes extension cable for putting the Pytes Wi-Fi somewhere else besides sticking out the front. Device, it's a cable and a mount to make it vertical. So Phillips head, I think I'll put it somewhere. Let's see how far it reaches. Let me put it back over there somewhere. All right. Here's what's in the box. No manual, but it should be obvious, right? The short cable, and I assumed it's a short cable because that short cable is supposed to fit through this blue plastic thing in some way. So then I thought, well, that's probably right, since the blue plastic thing has a hexagonal opening and the item has a hexagonal nut on it, but it seems like they're not the right size for each other. So I really couldn't figure it out. It was Friday afternoon, and I did email Pytes, but I'm sure I won't get a response until next week sometime, which is fine. So the extension cable plugs in the front. I routed it through the channel out the back, and I just used an EMT clamp to make a little place for the Solar Man monitor to mount. All right, bonus round. Let's connect up a portable generator. Get our fuel connected there. Set, I think there might be some gasoline in this, so maybe run it on gasoline until it quits. So it's dry from now on, and then run it on propane. Got to get the regulator. It actually comes with a lot of good stuff in here. 3-stage regulator. 12-volt power supply to keep the battery tended. Pluggers. Tank level. What else? Yeah. Oh yeah, tank adapter. So. All right, hurrying along. Connects to an inlet box that goes inside to the inverters. All right, bona fide off-grid test. Turn off the grid. Make sure the generator breaker is on. So then, yeah, now we have blinky lights. This is sensing the quality of the AC input signal. If it likes it after some period of time, which it just did, then it's now running the house on the generator.
All right.
And also charging the batteries. Since the batteries are full, no charging will happen.
Yeah.
But it is running. So your experiment would be to go off grid for a time, right? And then start the generator and see if you go from here back to here, you know, from low to high. I mean, it's going to work because I'm always worried the generators, portable generators, sometimes they don't have good total harmonic distortion.
This one says 3%.
Yeah, well, and some of them are like 12 or 15, yeah. And these Schneiders will not lock onto them, but it locked onto it, so that's all I was concerned about. No longer concerned. All right, and that's a wrap. Appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe and do all that YouTube-y stuff. See you on the next one.